Welcome to the World of Art by Paul Crimi, Paul Crimi Fine Arts. We're at my studio in Hanson, Mass, 1000 Main Street. We're going to do an introduction to where I paint and what I do and how I do it. I've always had this idea that if you teach a person how to see, it's better than teaching them how to paint. Because somebody teaches you how to paint, then you paint like them. I want you to paint like you. That's my whole goal in this whole situation of doing this show, to take you around and show you all of the things that I've done and all of the paintings that come out of me. But they come out of me. I want you to learn how to paint in a way that makes you feel like you're involved in the painting and it's your creation. And it'll teach you a way to see. Because if you have a way to see and look, and if you take a picture or if you look around your house and you see a still life, all of this is going to be taught to you in a way that you can build up an understanding about art that's different than the rest of the artists that are out there. Because most artists are so busy making what they want for money that they forgot how to make what they want for themselves and their own passion. I mean, Van Gogh never made a penny in his life, never sold a painting. And now they sell for millions and millions of dollars. At his funeral, they were giving away paintings. So what we're going to do is teach you how to paint and make you feel the painting, make you fall in love with what you've done. Not because you're trying to make money at it, because you're trying to learn how to make art and make yourself feel better about yourself. Art is a great door to a deeper and more loving way of finding out who you are. So what we're going to do is go on a little trip around the studio, and then we're going to go downstairs and we're going to carry up the feeling of coming through the building and looking around and seeing some of my favorite paintings, and we're going to talk about them and show you what they have to say and how they speak to each and every person, because that's what art does. Art has a story, at least mine does. Some people don't care if they don't have a story. They just throw paint at the canvas. What they do is what they do, and I'm not making fun of them. I am saying, personally, I like people to look and see what they can find in what it has to say. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go on a little trip downstairs, and we're going to start all this all over again. Welcome to my New England winter painting. This painting has such a feeling that it gives you the chills. I love it when summer's here and it's hot and windy out and the sun's roaring down, and somebody comes in and stands in front of this painting and they say, boy, this thing gave me a chill. Well, you know something? We live in New England and we have weather that nobody else has in this country, except Middle West, maybe in North and Canada and stuff. But this is Massachusetts. This is a friend of mine's house right down the road from me in Duxbury, and it's a beautiful farmhouse and all these beautiful fences. And I did it from a black and white sketch, and I painted it, and I really felt that it had a nice New England feeling. I thought it would make a nice Christmas card, but I never put it out as a Christmas card. I just kept it and put it away, so I finally have a chance to hang it up and let people look at it. It's a time and a place that all of us see, and then we're thrilled to see it, but we're thrilled to see it go away. That's what art is. It gives us that kind of feeling of being present in the painting. And when you have a painting that makes you feel like that, then it gives you a different attitude about life and about what we're seeing and what we're not seeing. Thank you. We're going to move to another section of the studio, and we're going to go look at an abstract painting, something that came from within the soul of the artist, which is Paul Crimi. This particular painting is called Shattered Dreams. It's from a painting series of spray enamel paint that I did in 1980. I did like 50 or 60 paintings for a woman, an interior designer in Long Island, New York. And it helped pay for my kids to go to college. And some of the paintings, I got really sick from the paint, and so I wound up going through a whole experience. And this particular painting came out of that in this dream that we have shattered dreams. We have dreams that don't complete themselves, or they make us feel like there's something missing. And that's the way I try to paint this painting. I said that we have this kind of visiting with the angels and with the around us and the things that affect us. And it was never because of anything. I don't drink, or I don't smoke, or I don't do drugs, or any of that stuff. It's just that I got sick from the spray painting, and it caused a lot of stuff to happen that I had to get rid of, and I got away from all that stuff. So when I did this particular painting, I tried to express that feeling, and it came out in a very powerful way, that, you know, that God, for me, is always present, and that we can be present to God, and that the work we do and how we express it comes from a different part. It comes from our soul, and it's very difficult for some people to express that. But when they take a look and they're looking for some kind of an awareness or something better, that's what I find art can bring you to a place of comfort, peace, joy. And that's what this whole show is going to be about. Teaching you how to see art in different levels or different ways to express yourself. And don't be laughed at or made fun of, because look at, they made fun of the best artists in the world, and their paintings are selling for millions of dollars. We're not trying to sell paintings for millions of dollars. We're trying to sell you the idea that you too can paint. And it's going to be that kind of a show. We're going to talk about how you paint and how you feel and what you do. This particular painting is from a series I've done on In My Father's House, or In My Father's House. There's many rooms, because it deals with all of the different rooms that the souls will be going to when we get to heaven. I did a whole series of these because I was affected by that whole thought of what we're going to be like and what it's going to be like in that place. And so we have no clue. I haven't been there yet. I've been to a lot of places with God, but not there. But I do think that our effect in our art, in what way we think, can be expressed in a way that's very powerful and very moving. And so that we should all have an expression of what we do. This came out of a series I did of cities. I did a whole series of cities and buildings and windows. And I said, wow, I think I might want to do In My Father's House, there's many rooms. So I think I did about 25 or 30 paintings, all different sizes like this. And I find them very intriguing. I think they're very comfortable to look at. The colors are very soft and they don't overwhelm you. And they can be hung different ways too. They can be hung sideways or upside down or whatever. I signed them down here in the corner. So this particular painting is hung like this. So each and every one of us, if you want to express yourself in a personable way, I always think that what I do is so unique that I want it to be that way. I don't want to copy anybody else. I want to search and look for different ways to express my art and have it touch people in another way, other than, wow, this is like Van Gogh, or this is like one of the abstract artists, or Picasso, or any of that. We're all influenced by what we see around us and what we're taught. It's really important that you learn how to be you. That's the key to real freedom, into real great art. This is a painting of Boston that I did in 1980. And in the 80s, I fell in love with the city. I thought it was gorgeous. I thought, to this day, I think it's gorgeous, but it's changed. But when I did this particular painting, it looked like this. And I really, I could have sold this quite a few times, but I didn't really want to part with it. I think you get so attached to what you remember about a painting and what it has to affect you, you know. And I was 33 at the time. Today I'm 76, and it's a few years later. And time and energy in life changes the way we see, but the way we feel about certain paintings, it's hard to let go of them. I had difficulty really saying goodbye to some of my favorite paintings. I suppose if the money was crazy enough, maybe I would. But I really think that if you hold on to some of your best paintings and you learn how to paint and you feel the feelings, it's difficult to let it go. I don't think Leonardo da Vinci ever let go of Mona Lisa. He took that painting everywhere he went, and it wound up in France, in the palace, and that's where he died, and that's why that painting is in Paris. A lot of people don't have a clue about why the Mona Lisa didn't wind up in Italy. Well, that's the reason. The King of France put up Leonardo da Vinci, and when he passed, the painting was there, and it wound up in the Louvre. So we don't know what is going to happen with our art. But we do know that if we have a passion and a love affair with what we do, and it comes from a deep part of us, then what we do is going to have an effect on certain people at certain times. I think that if we teach you how to see, again, and you paint, then what you paint and what you see is going to be different. It's going to be you. And that's what we're trying to do with this whole show, to give you a deeper and more loving experience about how and what to do with art. I'm showing these beautiful paintings in black and white because it's an art that's gone away. There was a whole generation and a whole world where people did nothing but black and white. Then they discovered color, and black and white faded away completely. But you know something? People like Paul Crimi are bringing it back in a very powerful, profound way to show you that the values that you learned from doing black and white enhance your color, makes your color jump off the canvas, teaches you how to see what art is supposed to be. I tell all of my students, and even my own daughter, who's a great artist, paint the canvas black and then paint your painting. It'll jump off the canvas. So a lot of my canvases I paint black, almost every one of them, and I have this beautiful effect. And I love the power and the sensitivity of a black and white painting. I have a whole bunch of them in my studio and in my gallery and in my museum. And each and every one of them has a different feeling and a different way of speaking to you, which is what I'm looking for when I'm painting a painting like this. I want you to stand in front of it and see how you feel about what it says. Art speaks to us in a way that's so profound. Sometimes we won't think much about it when we're there, and then we'll think about it for weeks and months. And then someday we'll live and say, gee, I wouldn't mind painting something like that. Then it worked. That's what art does. Art brings you to art. And when you're brought to art, you want to do it. And that's what this show is going to be all about. Teaching you how to see and also teaching you how to paint. This is a painting I did from a photographer's photograph in a magazine that lives in Pembroke. And I called him up and I asked him if he'd mind if I painted it. And he said he'd call it an honor. He says, I'd love to see what you do with it. So I painted it, and it has this minimalistness. Sometimes I get carried away with all of the stuff that I put in my art. And this one's sort of very, very simple and simplistic. It has this real quietness, you know, and that's what I liked about the photograph. The photograph made me feel like I was standing on the beach. And I think that's the kind of thing that I like to teach. To be present in the painting, to feel that you achieved what you were looking at and how you felt about it, and it painted it, and everything worked. And it has this, like I said, a minimalist, and I'm not a minimalist at all. So I want to get in a place sometimes where I have never been to see how it feels. And it always feels good when it's done and somebody likes it and somebody says, wow, I love the feeling of this particular painting. Then it works. You know, but I'm not looking for anybody to give me accolades and tell me how great I am. I'm looking to see how I feel about what I do. And then I want to pass it on to what you feel and what you like. Art is a gift, and each and every one of us is a gift giver. We don't even know that we can do it until we do it. Most of us start off very negatively, saying, I can't paint, I can't draw, I can't. As soon as you speak those words, everything goes away. It says in the Bible, what you say with your tongue becomes. So I tell people to speak positive, think positive, and be positive. and it changes their attitude. And attitude is a great thing. If you can be friends with your attitude, you can be friends with your art. Today we're going to show you a love letter. A love letter is an art form that I created that was purely out of my inner self and inner soul. I wanted to express myself with love to God for all that He's done for me for all these years as an artist. So I wanted to come up with something that had a deeper and more powerful meaning. So I would paint the background, and then I would take fabric paint. This happens to be a collage too. I collaged this black piece in here too. And then I hand painted all of these letters going across with the fabric paint. And these are called love letters never sent in words unsaid. We don't realize the things that we say and how we say them. And sometimes if we analyzed or thought about it or felt about it, I think we'd think a lot different in how we feel and what we feel. Some of these things came to me in a dream, and some of them came through me in a meditation, and some came in through contemplation. And I found myself doing a ton of them. I probably did 350, all different kinds of love letters. They're all over the studio in the gallery, and they're in the drawers, and they're on canvas, and they're on paper. And each and every one of them has a different message. And it's like our life. Each and every one of us has a different message. We're all unique. We're all set apart. And in that uniqueness, we can express ourselves by what we are and what we do. Therefore, a painting class or a painting show teaches us how to see and how to experience a different way of seeing so that we can do what we really want to do and learn something new. You know, we have the capacity to go a whole lifetime of learning until we're not here. Then it ends. But what we've learned along the way, we're leaving a legacy, something meaningful and something wonderful. Well, we're closing the show tonight with this beautiful painting of birch trees. I've painted 175 of them, and I've only got like 10 or 12 of them left. I think that they give us the feeling of fall. And there's something of birch trees. They're an ancient tree that has life and has power, and it affects a lot of people. So I painted a whole bunch of different ones, and on the shows, on this show, I'll paint one of these days. I want to invite you into this whole feeling of being part of this new show, The World of Art by Paul Crimi. So that we're going to introduce you to a whole bunch of different kinds of forms of art. This one happens to be a painting of birch trees, and the one on the bottom happens to be a collage, a print collage of all of these prints. Years and years of my work as a printmaker. I put them in a drawer, and then they don't work as a complete piece of art. I cut them up, and then I glue them together, and it gives me a fragmented look at my own personality and my own thoughts and how I feel and how I see. And it's intriguing because it makes you become part of it. It pulls you in, and it introduces you to a whole nother feeling. Art has so many ways of bringing you to a different place. And that's what we're going to do with this show. We're going to teach you how to see, teach you how to paint, and teach you how to be a better artist and a better person. Thank you, and good night.